Our next guest is very, very, the work she does is very close to my heart. I think you may know that I started my career in organizing with the farm workers boycott in Los Angeles.
That's right.
San Diego, and then Philadelphia, and all around the country. And saw Cesar many times. I was actually there the day they signed the grape contracts in Delano.
Wow.
And have continued to know and work with the Farm Workers Union throughout the years. And I had the pleasure a couple of weeks ago, while in Los Angeles, of having lunch with Christina Graham, who is our next guest. Christina, are you there?
I am. Thank you, Ernie.
And Christina is the Director of Operations for the Cesar Chavez Foundation. She's from California. She's been with the foundation for over 10 years. She started her work as an advocate and as a paralegal, working on class action suits and sexual discrimination suits and other kinds of issues that impact farm workers as they work in the field. And so we're very pleased to have you here with us to talk about the great work that you're doing, Christina, with the Chavez Foundation. So
hey,
welcome.
And Christina, this is Terry. It's really great to hear you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on the show. I'm excited and delighted to be here.
My first question is, tell us about the guiding principles of the Chavez Foundation. How did it start? What does it do? And again, what are the guiding principles?
Sure. The foundation is guided much by the same core values that Cesar Chavez held important during the development of the United Farm Workers and what eventually grew and expanded into the farm worker movement. We believe in enriching and improving the lives of farm workers, Latino families, and all underprivileged and underserved individuals. We strive to help communities of people meet their human, cultural, and community needs by hopefully maximizing their human potential. The farm worker movement started with the United Farm Workers back in 1966, and the movement includes now the Cesar Chavez Foundation and the UFW together. I believe that Cesar knew that in order to overcome the hurdles immigrant families endured, they would need more than just a union, a labor union. They would need a movement. So a big part of their strategy was understanding that workers were not just workers. So Cesar began this movement with the implementation of co-op gas stations, death benefit services, and a credit union. The services we provided then continue to grow and expand into what is the Cesar Chavez Foundation today.
Well, Christina, the Grassroots Corner is very much about organizing. So I want to take a little bit about what you said and ask you a question. So you're saying that the fundamental organizing principle, as represented through the foundation, is not only just organizing farm workers into the union, but it's also providing services. Am I hearing that correctly?
Yes. More services than just union work or organizing workers around better wages and working conditions.
And when did the foundation actually start?
The foundation actually started pretty much early on. It was also in the 60s. They started with, like I mentioned, the gas stations, but I think back in the late 1980s, early 1990s, I think the services that we were providing really took hold and expanded throughout the southwest region of the U.S.
And Christina, this is Terry. I think it's really wonderful to provide going beyond the actual working conditions or wages of the workers and really to the more social network that people need to sustain themselves and communities. I think collective action and solidarity has been eroded in this country, and the work that you're doing with the Cesar Chavez Foundation to rebuild that up is absolutely crucial for our ability to sort of rebuild the American middle class dream.
Yes, you're absolutely right.
So, Christina, as you know, this show is sponsored by the National Committee to Preserve Social Security and Medicare. Our concerns, the focus of our organization, is retirement and health security as people age. What challenges are older farm workers and their families facing as they age?
So Latinos are, as you probably know, are at a high risk for heart disease and diabetes. But when we're talking about farm worker health risks, they're much more amplified. So there's federal studies that have shown that farm workers are at a higher risk of injuries from the nature of their work, which include like reaching, bending, standing, and then even the overexposure to the sun. To amplify the health problems of this aging population, immigrants are less likely to seek medical help due to cuts made to medical services, cultural barriers, as well as even communication barriers. And
the other part of it is the not health security, but the retirement security issue. Let's talk about the nest egg. Let's talk about retirement security and the role that Social Security plays in the lives of farm workers as they get older.
So I was looking at some articles earlier, kind of looking at the Social Security and the access that Latinos and even farm workers have to it. So there was an article in AFL-CIO that stated that nearly 2/3 of retirees in this country rely on Social Security for half or more of their retirement. So if you combine this with the fact that undocumented residents cannot receive Social Security, and you have a serious struggle for many seniors, our seniors, what we do to kind of help farm worker seniors is we created housing complexes to provide affordable housing to this group of folks. We also work with preventive methods to ensure financial security for future generations. So our work in our educational programs aims to try to increase the academic success that will hopefully eventually hopefully ensure some financial security for the folks. But Social Security access for farm workers is very limited, and even some farm workers that we've been working with sometimes don't even know how to connect to that benefit that they've been working towards their whole lives.
Yeah, which really also speaks, I think, to the need for immigration reform that takes these kinds of things into consideration. The immigrant population in this country unquestionably contributes hugely in a positive way to the American economy, and the least that we can do is when they come to the end of their working lives, that they are able to retire in dignity and thrive as they've contributed to us.
That's correct. I think the UFW has been leading the fight for immigration reform for more than a decade. So we're very excited to see where it's come from since the start of this. But one of the things that we do is, you're right, all seniors, no matter their backgrounds, deserve a decent, dignified way of living throughout their entire life. So that's one of the things, the efforts that we do, is that we build these beautiful complexes that are either homes or multifamily units, or they're specifically built for seniors that have adequate living conditions, that we also even offer some social services within the apartment complexes so that they can have access to more than they sometimes have the ability to get.
That's fabulous.
Now, the delivery of the work of the foundation, Christina, do you have functional service centers in farm worker communities?
We do. We have actually 25 different centers throughout the Southwest, and they're located in the state of California, Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas. These centers, I think the headquarters is located in Keene, California. This is where Cesar spent much of his organizing days, and he's actually now currently buried. We have additional headquarters in Los Angeles and Phoenix, but some of the service areas that we have in these, some of them are in agricultural communities, very low-income agricultural communities, and some of them are even in urban settings, for example, in San Antonio and Phoenix. What we do, we have two different types of service centers that we provide. One of them is educational, where we provide after-school services to students ranging from kindergarten through high school, where we provide a safe and healthy environment for kids, essentially, while their parents are working, and then they get a snack and they go home and continue kind of their family relationship. But then we also have our senior services. And here what we do is we provide our program, which is called the Senior Spirit, Mind, and Body Program, where we have services of wellness programs, health screenings, transportation to local pharmacies and clinics, as well as we sometimes have social workers that come in and assess the mental health and physical well-being of our seniors.
And those are located in worker communities?
Yes, they are.
And how many housing complexes have you all built?
So the foundation builds and acquires and sometimes renovates single-family homes and apartments. to lower-income families and seniors at an affordable cost. Through the Foundation's committed efforts, we have over 300 single-family homes, 4,000 multifamily units, and these are spread throughout the 25 southwestern communities. So, and I believe right now we have about 9,000 residents living in these facilities.
So let's go back to the vision that Cesar brought to this effort and the intentions of the union. This fits, this is my own comment, but I'd like you to, both you and Terry, to comment on this. The service side of this very much fits with what I remember the intent of the union was about. We're talking about empowerment through union representation, and then we're talking about quality of life through healthcare delivery, through educational delivery, through better housing. This all fits together. It is very much a part of what the early fight was about. Am I correct about that?
Yes, you are.
Comments? Yeah, absolutely. That's something that I think, in fact, now that we are working, one of the reasons that over the past few years we have begun working much more closely, not only with the National Committee to Preserve Social Security and Medicare, especially with the Grassroots program that you all are building, but also with unions, because we believe that solidarity and collective action is the way forward for women's equality. We cannot get there, with every individual, considering that she is or he is just an individual on their own, not able to confront the forces that seem to be keep pushing us back. Mm-hmm. We've got to work together. We have to understand how solidarity and collective action creates community, and can make us more prosperous.
Exactly. Now, how? We, the National Committee, again, serves people over the age of 65, but it also serves anybody that qualifies for Social Security and Medicare. People that are retired sometimes have time. Are there ways to volunteer with the Cesar Chavez Foundation? And actually, if you say you're a retired nurse or a retired teacher, are there ways that people can get engaged where there's a service location?
Yes, that's a great question. I think sometimes, or a lot of times, our elders are ignored, and the experiences that they have, and just the knowledge that they can bring to helping in the work that we currently do. So what we have lots of ways that people can kind of reach out and try to work with the foundation. And as you know, Ernie, a lot of the success of the farm worker movement came from the commitment of grassroots activists. So we still rely significantly on the contribution of dedicated volunteers to achieve kind of the overall goals of the movement. So we have opportunities, what we call our CISA Learning Centers, and these are the learning centers that we have at all of our affordable housing complexes. And we have credentialed retired teachers currently working with us in providing our after-school or our summer day camp, where we focus on literacy and mathematics with our students, as well as skill building and character building of our young youth. So we have a lot of opportunities. Again, these learning centers are throughout the Southwest, in Texas, anywhere from northern Texas to southern Texas, so people can get involved that way. And through our senior programs as well, we have folks that come in and volunteer, and some of our seniors in our complexes also go give back to our youth, and then they help. We bring some youth over, and then they work together to just share their experiences and knowledges. Another way people can get involved is if you go to our website at thechavezfoundation.org or our Facebooks. There's many ways of getting involved, and there's a lot of information on our website that you can access.
And when we met in Los Angeles a few weeks ago, we talked about the possibility of a partnership between the foundation and the union and the National Committee around some issues facing older farm workers. So that has some very exciting possibilities as well, Christina.
Yes, I'm very excited, and I cannot wait for us to move forward and bring that partnership a lot more solid, and bringing in even some. I think we've talked about hopefully getting other industries involved and bringing some more experiences and knowledges into our centers. So I'm very excited and looking forward to that happening as well.
One more question, and Terry, you may have a question as well, but what states you said Texas, and what are the other states where you've got service entities?
So direct services we have throughout the Southwest, which is in California, Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas. But we also have a communication fund that does radio broadcasting, and that's throughout the Southwest. But it also includes the state of Washington and Oregon. And I believe Cesar believed that that you can educate by masses through communication, and that's when he built Radio Campesina, the radio station, to bring educational.
That's right. We didn't even talk about Radio Campesina. We didn't even mention that. And what's the bandwidth on that? What communities does that serve? That is the foundation's radio station, correct?
That's correct. So the foundation runs Radio Campesina. It's a 9-station radio network reaching about 500,000 daily listeners. In the states that I mentioned earlier. It is the 3rd largest Latino Spanish format radio network in the nation, and it attracts mostly immigrant listenership through popular regional Mexican music and like I mentioned, the state-of-the-art interactive educational programming as well.
Terry?
That's wonderful. Can you give us the website again? It's the Cesar Chavez Foundation .org, because I will tell you the truth, I know that now members would love to be able to plug in and do some volunteer work, if possible.
Yes, definitely. You can reach us at ChavezFoundation.org and on our Facebook page as well, which is Cesar Chavez. We also work a lot with the National Corporation to provide AmeriCorps volunteer positions. So we work with recent graduates throughout the country, and we've been doing this for about 5 years, where we bring recent graduates into the foundation, and they kind of give back to the community through service.
Well,
excellent,
outstanding, Christina. Thank you. I know it's now. Tell me the weather isn't perfect out there in California, as we die here of
muggy,
ugly East
summer.
Coast heat. Just tell me there's no sea breeze where you are, right?
There isn't. I mean, if you would have called me if we would have talked earlier, I would have said yes. But it's a beautiful sunny day, and the weather outside is about 78 degrees, so it's perfect.
So you did tell me there's good weather. Well, listen, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. And, the anticipation of working on this project, it just means so much to all of us here. We commend you for the great work. It's right in line with the best spirit of the progressive movement. So we're looking forward to this partnership. We thank you for this interview. It was very instructive for me.
Yeah, it was fabulous, Christina. Really great talking with you.
And hopefully we can do it again soon. Again.
Definitely. Ernie, you and I, we started this partnership, so I'm looking forward to it. And Terry, it's been an honor to be on the show with you, and I follow your work.
It's great. Wonderful. Thank you.
Christina Graham from the Cesar Chavez Foundation. We thank you, and we hope to talk to you again soon. Thank you again from Grassroots Corner. So this has been fun.
This has been awesome.
And we covered a range of things: Medicare, women's issues, and the farm worker movement, all important issues for the National Committee and for now.
Absolutely.
Terry, thank you for being here with me.
Thank you for having me, Ernie. This was great.
Thank you to our audience. Once again, the victory is ours to take. Si se puede. Thank you from Grassroots Corner.